Welcome to Too Many Games, where the more you play, the more you win. I'm your host, Chuck. With me is my co-host, Travis.
Hello. It's me, Travis.
All right, let's start off today with a discussion on randomizers. There's a couple streamers that constantly do Link to the Past randomizers. My own history of fun with it would be one streamer, Pro Jared, started playing Ocarina of Time randomizer. And then I was like, oh shit, there's an Ocarina of Time randomizer. Because, you know, as a kid, that was my shit. I'd play that all the fucking time.
Oh, yeah. I have great memories about that. Fuck the water temple.
To the point where even now, like after not playing it for years, if I played just the normal version, I still can do like a 92% completion on it.
Holy
without
shit.
A guide, you know?
Yeah, no, that's remembering a lot of stuff. There's a bunch of bullshit in that game. That is a very complicated. I mean, it depends on, because it always sounds so weird to be like, it's a super complicated game. Well, have you played fucking Dwarf Fortress? Like, that's a complicated game. Those randomizers, I started watching Link to the Past, right? The Super NES one, right? Because that was one of my games growing up. I mean, I played the shit out of Ocarina of Time as well, but like I also, I was like hand on the fucking Super Nintendo for the longest time. I watched this guy, Andy Lasso, I think, Andy something. I haven't watched him for a while, just because he's gotten so far into the randomizers that now it's just complete insanity. Instead of just being like, hey, all this stuff is in random spots and the dungeon entrances and stuff and all the screens, go to random screens. Now it's like there's keys everywhere, key sanity, Triforce sanity, warp sanity, multiplayer. It's like, holy fucking shit. I have not watched you enough to see the evolution to this crazy bullshit. Now it just seems like it's too much.
Right. Well, I know like one of the more popular randomizers from the streaming concave that I watch is they do Super Metroid mixed with A Link to the Past. So you can find like some Super Metroid items while you're doing a dungeon as Link and vice versa. And then there's like these random houses that you could go into that'll swap games on you. So it's like you have to kind of have an innate knowledge of both games in order to progress. One streamer on top of it, I guess the guys behind that randomizer, they built in like a crowd control feature. So like when these streamers are playing live, the people who donate, if they donate like certain prices, will add stuff to the game. Like it could be instant death, plus or minus missiles and arrows. It could be like Link is now stuck with ice physics, stuff like that. The problem is that the crowd control started breaking when too many people donate at once. So just be like, instead of switching to the next thing, is just like, for the rest of the game, Link is now in ice physics. I was watching that one streamer I was talking about who did games done quick with a crowd control feature, and it did like soft lock a lot because of that shit. Yeah. I mean, just because the game can only handle so much, even with a bunch of like background programming and shit. I thought it was funny during that run because it was like they set it up to be like, we already know that instant death is going to be the big seller. And so they priced it pretty high. They're like, okay, it's going to be fine because I've played these games so many times and, they're going to give me like $5 for every death. Like he's going towards the final boss of the game and it's just like instant death, instant death, instant death. And he's like, just let me play. And his friend is just like, dude, we're getting like $50. Let him kill you.
Ring it in, man. Suffer. I mean, in a really disconnected way, he is dying for the money, right? I mean, even if it's not like conditional to being killed by your crowd, you still die. Yeah,
but I mean, you sometimes you just kind of like want to play your favorite game, and even though you set up all these parameters and stuff, it's just like, just let me play. Stop being dicks for 10 minutes and let me play.
But just saying stop being dicks is gonna make it worse. Like, if a streamer tells his chat to not do something, they're gonna do it.
Oh no. Stop donating hundreds of dollars at a time.
Oh no, stop giving me
so
money.
so angry. My bank account is overflowing. Please don't give me no more money.
So yeah, no, the Metroid to Link to the Past one is just wild, right? Because if nothing else, the Metroid, the amount of like paths you have to know, right? So crazy. And then all the tricks that people do in games. That's something else that these streamers do, like hover boots in Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Like that's a crazy mechanic. Whenever you have, little boots and then you push yourself forward and you turn it, push yourself and you turn it. And, however technically it's done to bypass different parts of it, right? And so it's really cool to see a streamer who's really good, especially like a speedrunner who does glitch runs, who just says, all right, fuck it, watch this. Watch me like go for my fastest time. Watch me tear ass. I know we're talking about randomizers and everything, but a lot of the randomizer people do speed runs, right?
Yeah.
I watch Lil Aggie, right? I watch this guy, Lil Aggie. And I think I've mentioned it before, his Sekiro speedruns and stuff, right? He like plays blindfolded, plays with his feet, plays with no swords, plays, with all these restrictions and stuff on him. And he's just fucking amazing. But he'll start a run and get a bunch of good items immediately, like 2 or 3 things that just completely trivialize the run. And everyone will call it a baby run, right? So sometimes it's really cool whenever a streamer gets a baby run because they get all this awesome shit at the very beginning of the run and they just get a slaughter. And then they spend 4 or 5 hours getting like the last item they need because randomizers are really brutal.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Is like you have the original version of the game. It's like people have speed run them to death, and it's like, I found out how to beat the game in 0.5 seconds and shit. Mostly because I stuck a screwdriver in the cartridge when I was loading it in. Some glitchy bullshit. And then it's like randomizers come out and it's like it refreshes the game because it's like even people who've played this game casually for years, it's like, oh man, this is fun because I no longer have a set path. I actually use that innate part of your brain to problem solve. Instead of the sword, I have the hammer. So now I have to learn how to like time hammer swings to kill things,
Right. Oh, or like, in like different speedrunning games, they have to go to a spot they normally never go, deal with the enemy they never deal with, kill a boss they never kill, something like that, because it's outside of their normal route, right? Yeah. But they have to go and find another item somewhere, or find another chest or kill another boss or something to generate that random chance of getting the thing they actually need. And that alone, for me, makes randomizers really cool because you'll see a streamer or yourself, whatever, going to a place that you normally don't have to because it's fucking random. You got to check it out, man.
Yeah. Then like randomizers started getting normalized where everybody's kind of like now getting into that process of checking all these like little things, the chests that used to only be rupees and, all the little things. So now you see a lot of the speed running community that will like generate a seed for the randomization and they'll test it out first and like see how easy it is, like your baby run,
Yeah. Yep.
And it's like if you don't get, say, weapons from the first like area of chest or something, it'll like give you a difficulty meter, and then they'll like post that seed and then start like speed running off of that seed to like get it. And then that leads other people to like basically input that seed in their randomizer so that they could try to like beat his time with the same parameters.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's a really cool part about it.
I mean, and in that way, it is always keeping it fresh because like once that time has been beat on that seed, well, you just like load up a different seed and start changing things around again.
Right. And so if it's a game that you're down and you love, you could just keep going, man. You can fucking play Ocarina of Time forever.
Right?
All the way.
I fucking love the randomizer for Ocarina of Time. And then that led me into like picking up the randomizer for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker, the people who programmed those randomizers, they have actually like created a launcher that will take the game ROM and basically generate the seed off of that. And it'll even like generate like a little text packet to spoilers. So if you ever get stuck, you could be like, oh, okay, the sword is into Dongo's Cavern,
Right. No, a lot of streamers like, will give it to one of their admins or whatever when they're doing runs just in case, or like have them look over it to make sure that it's at least beatable. Yeah. Right. Or that it's not like the most ridiculous thing ever, so that they'll actually, like even if it takes 6 or 7 hours instead of, an hour speed run, at least it's beatable.
Yeah. But Twilight Princess, they're still working on that.
because nobody likes that game.
Well, a lot of people like that game, but the way that game was built, conversely to the other two, is like very narrative focused. Like there's a lot of story moments and cinematics and stuff. So it's very hard to program around that. Like they're working on it, and it's a very kind of a beta state. But also the only way to set up the randomizer is if you know Python and how to program.
That whole game is a beta state.
Like I joined the Discord for the Twilight Princess randomizer, and it's like, here's step-by-step instructions on how to like get the prompt up. It's like, okay, so I did all that, and then it's like, okay, now you just like change this value under this line, like on the 28th section. It's like, I
remember you. No, I remember you mentioning that actually. You gotta do like, actually have like some Python coding. It sounds fucking terrible.
Yeah. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play Twilight Princess. And Twilight Princess still holds up. It's a fun-ass game. Wind Waker randomizer, however, can suck a dick because I'm completely lost because every chest I open is another goddamn treasure chart, and I don't have any money to get these, like, decoded, let alone I still can't find the damn grappling hook in order to fish all these treasure chests up to possibly unlock more equipment to continue forward. I got like 20 fucking treasure charts and no other equipment.
All I gotta say is get good, man. you gotta get better, man. You gotta start swimming. So I think even though I haven't played many randomizers, every game I play is a randomizer because I'm drunk. So, so it's always just like a mystery. I load up a game. It's like, holy shit, that's fucking crazy. I didn't know there's a fucking hammer in that chest. God damn. That's fucking awesome. All right, next one.
Hey, Travis, what seed were you playing on? Yeah, man, I don't buy no seeds. What the? Got a bottle of Jack, and I got some Primo Kush.
Oh, man. Hey, you're going to definitely have to edit that one out.
Why?
No, that was my favorite accent. That was my favorite voice of yours I've ever heard. I want to hear the Primo Kush voice all the time.
Right. Randomizers pretty much on the level of roguelikes in the sense of taking an old game with static parameters and changing it up so it stays fresh. So I hear Nethack is kind of a roguelike.
So I thought that was kind of funny when we were talking so much about randomizers, and I was like, oh, fuck, I shouldn't talk about Nethack, even though it's one of my favorite randomized games.
Oh, God, we're talking about randomized. I better not talk about this randomized game that I randomly picked up.
Right? Is that not so random that is going to be the random game that I choose tonight to talk about? That's my topic. How crazy is that?
That's not random at all.
No, you knew what this was. You knew what this was the whole time. Surprise. The game I'm going to talk about is actually called Nethack. I don't know if you picked up on those subtle clues that we were dropping before, but
it's all about parking.
Hey, actually, it was a really tough call between Clam Digger and Nethack. Both phenomenal roguelike games. Both all about parking. Both entirely dedicated to finding parking. Nethack, and this will make a lot of sense based on what the game looks like, was developed in 1987. I was also developed in 1987.
So you got to bond to this game. Like, maybe Nethack was so randomized on those old computer systems that it tore open a fabric in reality and it bore you to play Nethack 30-something years later.
If that was the case, I would be a lot better at Nethack. If my sole purpose was to play Nethack, holy shit.
But you were the chosen one. Yeah, I drank that poison.
You quaffed it? You've been quaffing poison? Hey, man, that's Nethack. Right. All right, so 1987, right? This game is created, and it was actually just created by Nethack, the development team. That's the only thing they've done. It's not like a gaming studio. NetHack is one of like the original ones, right? To branch off into all these other games. Like there's a game called Rogue. It sounds silly now, but like, you know, all these like muds and moos and all these like things that you used to be able to back in the olden days of the internet connect to through like chat boards and clients that would connect you to other people that were just these huge, crazy role-playing worlds where people were like playing essentially NetHack with each other because you just have tiny little sprites, and not even sprites, right? Because sprite's not the right word. Your character would be defined by like a letter or a number or some kind of ACI art. It's fucking insane, right? So NetHack is the single-player version of that. But NetHack is absolutely story-driven. And the story is not so fucking crazy. It's just fucking crazy how it happens, right? It's so completely direct. It's the classic like fantasy. You make a character, pick a name, pick a class, pick a race, pick a gender, because it's very important, right? And then you fucking dive in. You start up at the top level of a dungeon, and your goal is to go all the way down to the bottom and get an amulet from a fucking wizard, right? A fucking wizard's amulet is the wizard's name's Yendor, and it's the coolest like classic fantasy type shit. And then so there's all sorts of crazy stuff that happens in between there, and I'm going to talk about some of it, but
what's at the bottom of this dungeon? It's some old man near a fire. Welcome. Congratulations for finishing my dungeon. Here's my bronze medal. Now go on, and across the river's another dungeon. You'll meet my brother Hank. He'll enjoy your time.
I thought you said you never played. I thought you said you never played the game. You fucking nailed it, dude. All right. Review over. 4 out of 5 fucking ghosts. 4 out of 5 Medusas. Pretty good game. Pretty good game. Actually, fantastic game, right? Because there's so much to it. There is a website you can go to, and it is called The Greatest Game You Will Ever Play. And if you go to The Greatest Game You'll Ever Play, it will link you to NetHack. And someone at some point took that domain name on the internet and fucking slapped it on there. I think that's so fucking cool. And then that alone, to just read like that paragraph that the person put on that website, explains a lot of how the game works, right? Because the whole point, you know, you get the amulet, you get the bronze amulet, you kill Harold or whatever, Hank, you kill the wizard Hank, sorcerer of Yendor, you take his amulet. He's not dead, right? It was a joke. It was a prank the whole time. He keeps coming back the whole time. Now you've got his amulet. You have to go to the fucking astral planes, and you have to go through the fucking water plane and the fire plane and all this crazy shit, right? Because this game was so heavily influenced by Dungeons and Dragons that kind of existed at the same time, right? You got your knight, you got your wizard, your rogue, your priest, archaeologist, which is one of my favorite Dungeons and Dragons class, and then
I just want to say, like, you know, this is all ASCI, so it's like everything, your character, the environment, buildings and shit is just like different letters to make up the object space. It's just like now you have to go to the astral plane, and it's like, well, all the white dots turn purple.
That's how you know it's the astral plane. And now you're making me think you don't even play the game.
Look at the graphics. Go to your friend's house. He's in like all the dots are red. It's like, dude, where are you? I went to Hellverse.
So that was the first right thing you actually said. No, so one of the genius parts about NetHack is because it looks like that, you can be at work at your computer playing the fuck out of NetHack, and all your boss is going to think is like, holy shit, this dude's killing it. Like, he's all over. He's doing so much work. And in reality, fucking killing goblins all fucking day.
Yeah. I mean, computers have advanced so much that even if you were sitting in the office doing your work, your boss still thinks they're playing a video game because the bosses are never promoted from within and they don't know how programming works.
Well, then fight your boss. I don't know how to tell you to live your life, man. You don't have to play NetHack, okay? You should maybe even try to do your job every once in a while and stop playing video games at work. Fuck, man. Maybe then your boss wouldn't want to fight you.
Too Many Games would like to endorse the object of getting the
Not
printer and throwing it into your boss's office. Fuck those guys. Why do they have to be in charge of the money?
Yeah, no, if you're listening to this, fight your boss. Just pick a fight with your boss.
Do it right now. Leave us a comment. Tell us how you went out the door because you were fired.
I love your passion for fighting bosses, but finish listening to the podcast first and then go fight your boss. Finish up today's episode.
If video games have taught me anything, bosses will drop treasure.
And then what? You can sit there and cry into your golden chalice because you don't have it. Well, actually, no, I at some point I flip-flopped on the issue. I'm pro boss fighting. Never mind. Yeah, they drop a lot of treasure. Go get that bag, baby. So you were talking about the terrible graphics of this game, of my beloved childhood game.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was kind of ripping it a new one because, we've discussed previously of how I'm a graphics whore, and this looks like utter trash.
Texture packs. Bam. Whack. Like slap it down. Texture packs in your head. Since this is audio, just think like a big splash image. Texture packs. Slap.
Right.
Gotcha. Checkmate, man. Just slap a texture pack on there. Now it looks like a game from 1993 instead of 87. You're welcome. You're gonna love it.
93 was a good year.
It was a great year. Name 5 games from 93, you fake gamer. I only said that because I'm scared I couldn't do it. I had to get you first. All right.
World of Warcraft.
You're good. No, I think it was just Warcraft. You really let that one go. So right, texture packs. You put a texture pack on. I actually play with texture packs all the time, just because it does make the game like a lot more aesthetically pleasing. And there's a whole feature of Nethack, right, called YASD. It's an acronym that stands for Yet Another Stupid Death. Because if you play Nethack, you're gonna kill yourself on accident a lot, and you're gonna die a lot just because it's a permadeath game. And so all of this information has been really scattered around. I'm trying not to just read off information like it is an RPG game. You make a character. You can be a knight that's an elf, and then you get a sword, and then you go down to the dungeon. You also get a pet. You get a little dog or a cat, so that's kind of cool. Hang out with it, and it can kill shit for you, and hang out and do stuff. And you shouldn't eat it, right? Because you can eat corpses. A lot of things have a corpse, so you should eat it. Or you could eat it. I don't know. You could look it up if you want, but it's more fun if you try. And then you die a lot of the time. And that's yet another stupid death. Anyways, so that whole texture pack thing, there is not using texture packs and using the ACI art, right? So a dwarf would be a minor D, but then a demon could be a capital D. And you might not think about it, have a bunch of shit all around you because it's all a bunch of random letters, and you see a capital D and you're like, oh cool, that's a nice little dwarf. I'm also a dwarf. He probably won't be very aggressive towards me, and if he is, fuck him, he's just a dwarf. Guess what? It's a demon. You died, jackass. So use texture packs, especially if you really want the old school experience, obviously play with ACI. It's just kind of crazy sometimes, just because I do like some kind of it reminds me of games that I did play in the past, like some kind of crazy post-apocalyptic game I remember playing with my dad. He got all not mad, but it was it was a really complicated dumbass game. It wasn't intuitive at all. You had to do all these really complicated things, like say turn left, go south. It's oh, that sucks. This you can at least use diagonal keys and move around with a number pad or directionals. But you also don't want to necessarily do that because you want to be able to move directionally.
My earliest computer gaming, I think it was text-based game called Adventure or something.
Oh, so you're a pro, huh?
Yeah, it was literally your character wakes up in the middle of the forest. What do you do? And it's walk left. You've walked left. You meet a sleeping dragon. What do you do? I stab the dragon. You don't have a sword. You try to punch the dragon. The dragon wakes up and eats you.
Oh, you died.
And then you reset. You go back to the dragon. It's well, what do you do? Well, I tried to leave the area. You step on a stick and wake the dragon. The dragon eats you. It's So how do
Dude,
you
you
get
suck
around
at that game. You're terrible at that shit.
I hate those fucking games. So why do you keep going back to NetHack?
First off, I've never beaten it. I don't want to say that it's a very difficult game, but it's a very complicated game. There's a lot of things you have to remember all the time, and I'm a big victim of killing myself, especially because the game works in a way where early game, being a melee character, a knight or a caveman, they are very tough in the beginning of the game and can handle pretty much everything. And then stuff starts like having spells and all sorts of crazy shit, and they start fucking you up. And you start dying. So instead, you make a wizard. Well, now you die in the early game because you're a little baby wizard guy. You don't got a lot to do, to protect yourself. So the game itself very interesting. I've gotten to a really difficult part once, and I was really proud of myself because if you get devoured by things, right? So one of the really cool things about NetHack is this tagline that people use for it. It's like, if you can think of it, the devs already put it in the game, right? So like if something should work or like physics should work a certain way, even though it's like a crazy fantasy game, it works. And it's like, it's not super complicated. Some of these like instances I want to talk about, but like if you are wearing a helmet and something knocks you on the head, obviously it doesn't do a good of a job as if you weren't wearing a helmet. Or if you handle a cockatrice, right? One of the like legendary things that turns you to stone and can whatever, all these things, but like it petrifies people. If you handle it without gloves, you get fucking paralyzed or you get turned into stone. If it falls into a pit and dies and you fall into that same pit, well, there's a huge chance that when you fall in that pit, you're going to make some kind of contact with it, with your body, no matter what, and it's going to touch your skin. You die. So there's a lot of really interesting things like that. And then there's a lot of really interesting things that are like specific to NetHack. There was a lot of Tolkien specific lore that was added, like Mordor orcs and shit like that. There's a really complicated artifact system in the game. And if you find a short sword that a hobbit's carrying, you can use an option in the game to name things. So if you wanted to name a bag like potions and you wanted to put all your potions in the bag, but you can also name weapons and items. So if you have like your favorite sword, you can name it Cool Sword 69, XX Dark Shadow, whatever.
What I'm to gather from this is that Elder Scrolls has been infringing on the copyright of NetHack
forever. Every game has, but they also stole like a lot of their content from every other type of lore. But they don't charge any money for their game, so it's like, what are they going to do? Sue this group of people that are making a really awesome game and not, making any money off of it?
Hasn't stopped people before.
Well, fuck them. if they can beat NetHack, then they can sue them. I think that's the issue. Right. That's the rule. That's a stipulation on their website.
They go to court. It's like, the final boss of NetHack is a complete copyright infringement on my character. It's like, that's a lie, Your Honor. Nobody has finished NetHack.
Right, so the game's really cool. I was leading into that thing about how if you can think of it, the devs already did it, right? So and I can finish up with this because there's so much more I could talk about. Actually, two things I want to talk about real fast or like touch on. One is one of my best friends ever, right? And if anyone actually plays NetHack, please don't laugh at me. It was pretty far for me. Okay, fuck you. I'm sorry. Anyways, I say that because I've played this game a lot, and this is pretty far in the game, but it's also not pretty far in the game, depending on how you gauge success. And normally, winning or beating a game or completing a game would be how you gauge success. Not me. No, I just needed to kill this one motherfucker, and guess what? I killed him. There's a very specific mechanic, right? So there's all sorts of wands and rings and potions and swords and all sorts of shit, right? And so I'm playing this Dwarvish Valkyrie. A lot of people, they talk about an ascension kit because eventually that's what your character does, is like ascends to godhood or demi-godhood or whatever, right? So you want an ascension kit. There's a lot of things that go into an ascension kit because you need all these really specific items like candles and instrument, and you need specific armor, and you need a really good weapon for your class. And I had like quite a bit of these things, and I was like on course. It was I was there, right? I was kicking ass. I was so ready. I was in this like crazy hell level, right? In this crazy hell level, there's this big sloth like worm monster called Jubilex. Jubilex engulfs you. So I'm inside Jubilex. But I know, because there are other worm monsters in this game, and I've done this many times, and this is how you escape from the worm monsters. If you have a wand of digging, you can zap your wand of digging, and you'll dig your way out of them. Whatever you dig out of will be reduced to 1 health because you dug out of their body. It's, that's physics, baby. I don't know what to tell you. You dig out of me, I'm at 1 health every fucking day of the week. I killed Jubilex. I killed him. I 1 hit, 1 health, easy kill. Laughed at him. I thought that was funny. I breathed a deep sigh of relief. Life was good. I did it. This was as far as I got. I was about to go smoke a victory cigarette, walk around for a little bit, get a snack, whatever. I might go rebuild a fucking car engine or go back to school. I was successful. I did it. I could have just stopped playing the game at that point ever and be happy and just be like, yeah, my character just kept living forever in that hell world, and it was kind of cool, but they didn't die. Turns out, whenever you get swallowed by Jubilex, you get this super fucking fatal poison that kills you in like 3 turns. I kind of faintly remember knowing about that at some point, either just through discussion about it or something, but I didn't really think about it, right? I was so excited.
You're not supposed to drink the stomach acid when you're down there.
Well, it's a very realistic game. What else are you going to drink in there? You got to drink something. I'm telling you, it's a realistic...
I was thirsty and it looked like Gatorade.
Yeah. Give me a better reason not to do it. I died. And it was really sad. I was really disappointed. I had played that character for quite a while. I just played very slowly, right? Since it's a turn-based game, which I probably should have mentioned at the very beginning. That it's turn-based, which I'm sure, you figured it out by now. But you can play it really slow. Normally I'd, play like 100 rounds and, it's like 100 movements and go through a couple levels and try to make really smart decisions and not play very fast, right? Because you play fast, you die. I think I blame it on nicotine. I just had to smoke so bad.
Played it too fast and loose.
And I died, and it was really sad. Rest in peace, Wiggles.
Have you played since?
Oh, yeah. Like 100 times. The worst part is whenever I get really drunk and I want to play a game that it just sounds really good, like something reminds me of Nethack. So I'm like, hell yeah. And I boot it up and die like 15 times in a row. And I'm like, all right, fuck this game. And then I don't play it.
Kind of sounds like me playing Dark Souls.
Well, yeah, I got you there. But say, fuck this. I'm going to play something else. I'm out of here. I'm going to go play with my own toys.
Fuck this game. I'm going to look up the ending on YouTube and claim it as my own.
I mean, wow. You just figured the secret to every boss fight, dude. The free share of information. You just say, oh, yeah, that guy was a dick. I remember his purple laser. Ha. Guess who's not spending $60 on the next Mario game?
Hey, I just want to say that for sure, 100% real life, I did beat Radahn in Elden Ring just before they nerfed him, and then they kind of buffed him again after that, but he's still not as strong as he was on the initial game release. So it's like I killed him like the day before they patched him. So suck on that.
You really told the 3 people listening right now.
Yeah. I mean, technically it's 28, but still.
We made it. We made it. Closing statements. I'm going to give it 9 nets out of 10 hacks.
Okay.
Solid game. Love it. Played it a ton. If you have any interest in a fantasy-based game, if you like Tolkien, if you like crazy hardcore mechanics in a game, if you just want to try something crazy because it's been around forever and just that alone makes it crazy. Shit, I'm reading a post right now that says Nethack is far, far better than Diablo. Take it from a guy who's wasted years of his life on both games. And yeah, I feel you, dude. I get it.
But how many of those is they have to justify spending 500 hours in Nethack? It's like, no, this game is definitely better.
Hey, I played Diablo once and I died. It's a shitty game.
Right? Hey, take it from a guy who's put over 1,000 hours in World of Warcraft. Don't ever play World of Warcraft. It's a shit game. Definitely don't pay them $15 a month.
So the topic for next week is making fun of Blizzard games.
The topic of next week is making fun of me for wasting my money on a shit game.
Oh, don't forget your life too. Don't forget your life.
Well, we gotta save some for other podcast episodes. we'll just piecemeal it out over the next month or so.
What game are you going to be talking about today?
Dwarf Fortress.
I will be goddamn. I would be so happy.
No, I was gonna.
You got me with that one. That's some good ass weed. I really didn't.
This podcast is now randomized. Yay!
Holy shit! The random podcast topic. It got Dwarf Fortress.
My real game. I want to talk about Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Oh,
so I mean,
go on.
Obviously, this game has been around. Got the 9s and 10s out of 10s, and everybody fucking loves this game and shit. And it's a fantastic game. But as with the previous couple games, there are some aspects that hardly anyone ever really talks about, and they really piss me off.
Nice.
So this all started with the Zelda randomizers, I got really into the Ocarina of Time randomizer, started doing the Wind Waker randomizer, tried to do the Twilight Princess randomizer, and just ended up playing Twilight Princess.
Right? What's the matter with you? You can't code your favorite game.
I'm not that much of a nerd.
Hey, this guy's not even a gamer. Look at him. This guy's he's a faker. He's a phony. He doesn't even code his own games.
I was like, you know what? It's been a while since I played Breath of the Wild. I just kind of want to load it up and just kind of mess around in it because I've been playing all these other ones. Lo and behold, I put 120 hours into it when I was only planning on putting 2.
Wow.
This game is super addicting and it's super fun in a lot of ways.
Go on.
But I just feel like as a Zelda game, it sucks. It's a new refreshing take on open world genres and adventure gaming entirely. It is an amazing game. But compared to the other Zelda games, this is terrible. Breath of the Wild is set in pretty much the furthest part of the Zelda timeline. This is the actual final end of Ganon. This is the Ganon's spirit has pretty much taken over Hyrule, and Link goes into a deep sleep for 100 years. Wakes up
when his spirit takes over Hyrule for 100 years.
When Ganon, yeah.
Well, that's a shitty fucking hero. That's the worst hero time I've ever heard. 100 years, not 5.
Well, it's Ganon, he comes back, he creates this big army and stuff, and there's a big battle between humans and the monsters. And in that process, Link gets horribly hurt, and he's put into basically this coffin that's supposed to heal him. But it takes over 100 years to do it.
So he lost, and so they had to lose for 100. Holy shit, dude.
So Ganon ends up taking over Hyrule, and the only thing that's keeping him from completely destroying the place is that Zelda has sacrificed herself to basically imprison the spirit of Ganon within Hyrule Castle.
Well, and Zelda's dead?
She's not technically dead. It's just,
dude, this is the darkest universe.
Yeah, pretty much.
Zelda.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. Link loses, Zelda dies, Ganon rules for 100 years? I mean, I guess he ruled the Dark Realm. Dark World.
But
there's some crazy ass lore, man. They need to get their shit together.
But that's what I'm saying. It's this is how the story starts, is Link wakes up with amnesia and sees everything in disarray. And so you're trialing the lands, and it's fantastic in the sense of, it's a wide open world. You could go anywhere you want. And as you're walking, there's rundown monuments of places that you remember in the previous games, like the Temple of Time or Lon Lon Ranch and stuff, but they're all decrepit and grown over and shit. So it's really cool that they take these old markers and have them sprinkled throughout the world so that you can see them, and then you see the new towns and stuff that have been built up because everybody had to basically pack up and move elsewhere when the monsters started coming. And Link has to basically reconnect with all these people. There's these 4 guardians that are spread across the world. Those are technically your dungeons. Is you have to get into these guardians, beat the boss, get the guardian back on your side, and it'll shoot this like energy beam at Hyrule Castle. And once all four collide with the castle, it's basically, that's when you can start the fight with Ganon, and he's like horribly weakened by all this energy from the guardians.
I see.
But at the same time, the game is built so open that you could, as soon as you load up the game, you could technically run straight to the castle and start fighting Ganon.
He just cooked the shit out of you, right?
I mean, it depends if you know how the mechanics work. And that was a lot of the speed running when this game came out, was people like learning how the fights work and learning how many weapons they have to like pick up before going into the final battle in order to survive and stuff. So yeah, this game, people were beating it in like 5 minutes and shit.
That's awesome.
So instead of all these like different dungeons that are like very fleshed out and stuff, you get these 4 fleshed out dungeons, and then you get like 150 of these mini trial dungeons. And these mini trial dungeons, you go in and it's like a puzzle to solve. Once you solve the puzzle, you're gifted orb of the oracle or whatever. When you have 4 of these orbs, it's kind of like your pieces of heart. So then you go to a statue of the goddess, you give her the 4, and you can either choose to get an extra heart, or you could get an extra sliver on your stamina meter.
More stamina.
So, and the stamina is used for like running and climbing and swimming and all that jazz.
All the normal things stamina is used for.
Yeah. So it becomes this like kind of like give or take. Do you want to be able to like stay alive longer in fights, or do you want to be able to climb a longer, like a higher cliff face? You know. Pro tip: go with stamina first.
Yeah,
you're gonna need that a lot more than health. So it's a gorgeous game. Very dynamic weather system, like massively open world. So the only like loading screens are between the dungeons and the outside world, and even then, it's not even that long of a loading screen.
Well, that's awesome. Loading screens are terrible. We can say that and both agree on it. Fuck loading screens. I mean, if they gotta be there, they gotta be there.
Look,
if they're necessary.
I'm sorry, but the first Mass Effect had it right, and everyone threw a goddamn shit fit over it. This is the longest elevator ride in the world and stuff. It's like, it's a loading screen without breaking the reality, you know? Yeah. Like, I'm sorry that you want to like sit there and look at some stock image while seeing a loading bar. I like the elevator approach. I don't care how long the elevator takes, because it's a loading screen in disguise.
No, you're totally right. I didn't even think about that, because it was so beautifully, integrated into it. Also, and I was like, I don't know, fucking 19 or something.
Fucking Mass Effect is a great game.
That was 10,000 beers ago.
One of the big aspects, and this, whatever, it could give me some flack on this or whatever, but it's kind of the Dark Souls aspect of Breath of the Wild, Very, very little story. You have to like go out of your way to find the overarching story of this game. And that's like with the cinematics and some of the dialogue that takes you to the Guardians and shit. Like, that's like bare bones story.
Right.
You actually have to like go to all these different villages and do all the side quests and stuff to actually like learn the lore behind what happened in the last 100 years that Link was fucking asleep in a tomb, No.
It's the Dark Souls approach, man. They were doing Dark Souls.
I flip-flop around, because it's like, as a Zelda game, is like, I'm always into the story propelling forward and stuff. It's like, this is an adventure game and stuff. But then on the other hand, it's like, I could literally spend hours running around Breath of the Wild and not be like hampered with, I have to go to this point. It's like, I kind of want to go inspect this mountain over here and just go there. And that could give me some things that'll help me like later on or whatever. But it's like, this game is really more propelled by the feeling of discovery and what's around the next horizon than it is the plot telling you to go in that direction.
I wonder what's on that mountain. And then it just like the most straight faced Link ever, just walking straight up this mountain and killing everything. It's like it doesn't matter. They're all monsters to me. I'm fucking Link. I've been asleep for 100 years. My blade fucking thirsts.
Well, I mean, I'll get to the weapons, but whatever your blade thirsts for, it's more durability.
Topical to what we're saying.
I like both approaches to those game designs, like the plot driven and the exploration driven. And I would prefer more the plot driven in Zelda. Like, and that's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like, I love all aspects of this game except for trying to make it a Zelda game.
No, I totally get it, because there's so much to it, right? There's so much to, like, even Ocarina of Time. There is so much development that happens, and you kind of get to know these characters, and they do develop a little bit more. And I mean, you are kind of sort of pigeonholed to go to certain areas, because that's how Zelda games have always worked, right? You need a hook shot to go here, you need hover boots to go here, you need this song to do that, you need this. And so, then it starts combining those two things together. Now you need this song and this item. It's like, oh shit, okay. So then it becomes really gratifying whenever you're exploring somewhere new that you kind of have to go to, or not have to go to, but now you're able to go to because you have a hook shot, and now you have the other item too, and then you get this little like satisfaction smile on your face. You're like, fuck you, Zelda, fuck you, Link, fuck all you, Ganon, go suck my dick, I got the items.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling.
And that is another aspect that I feel Breath of the Wild fails at being a Zelda game. Is like, you get all of the utilities at the start of the game. You get the Sheikah Slate with the bomb attachment, the magnet attachment, all those attachments, like right at the start. You get the paraglider right at the start. Those are it for utilities. There's like 5 or 6 utilities. Everything else is a weapon. And all of the weapons have a durability cost. Even the Master Sword.
What happens when the Master Sword breaks?
Master Sword breaks, it says like, the Master Sword ran out of energy. Please wait a day until it comes back.
Wait, so it's no longer a sword? You can't stab someone with it? It's
Pretty
like,
much,
it's not enough metal for you,
like,
boy.
It needs to rest for a day. Like, come on, guys. In that sense, the only real character progression is those little mini dungeons that give you the heart pieces.
Well, so what about like hook shots,
Nope.
bows,
Well,
boomerangs,
there's bows,
hammers.
Bows can break. There's hammers can break. There's boomerangs can break. There are no hook shots.
Every single thing you have, every single thing you use offensively can break?
Yes.
Oh, nards, dude. So I'm asking a lot of questions because I've never owned a Switch. At that point, whenever I got that point of gaming, whenever Switch existed, I was partying a lot. I was moving around a lot.
Because I know that there are people who have done emulators for like the Wii U and the Switch, and you could probably just download it somehow.
Yeah, no, that's what I was definitely thinking about. And now that you've talked more about it, and like that whole all the desiccated parts of Ocarina of Time are in there.
Yeah,
you sold me, but then you brought me right back with the whole durability thing.
Okay. The durability mechanics are the most frustrating part of this game. At this point, we have almost 20 years of games where they have done durability and have kind of like streamlined it to a sense to where if a game comes out now that has durability, they know what the acceptable room is for how much you could use the weapon before it breaks and repairing the weapon.
Right, so you can't repair weapons?
No.
Oh, no.
No, you cannot. And
oh, no.
Early on, you're getting like wooden sticks and like wooden spears and wooden swords and shit to fight. Even the earliest enemies, you could kill 1, maybe 2 goblin or bokoblins, whatever they're called, before that thing breaks. So you're constantly trying to pick up more and more weapons, and you have limited inventory space Because why? Oh, well, that facilitates the need for a vendor to sell you inventory space.
Oh no, you have to buy inventory space.
Well, it's not bought through money, but it's bought through another annoying aspect of the game where the Kokiri people, who are actually modeled off the Wind Waker Kokiri, they're spread throughout the world, and they're like these little mini games. Like if you see a circle of rocks, but there's one rock missing, you find a nearby rock, you finish the circle, they'll pop up and give you a Korok seed. When you have enough of these Korok seeds, you go to the Lost Woods, you find the vendor there, you give them the seeds to give you one extra slot of your swords, or one extra slot of your shields, or one extra slot of your bows.
So it's not tedious at all.
Right. And so the whole aspect of the durability is like, okay, so the wooden shit breaks very easily. Okay, so then you start moving up to like rusted weapons. Well, you get a couple extra hits out of them before they break. And then you get up to like steel weapons and gold weapons. And, you know, the higher you get up, the more you could attack with before the weapons break. And then you have kind of the like,
well, that makes sense.
The max level pantheon of things where it's like, God, what were they called? It is like Dark Sword. It's basically
spooky.
They look like the weapons for like the Hyrule Guard, but they're all black. It's like a corrupted guard stuff. They are the strongest hitting weapons, but they also have the lowest
break in 2 hits
durability. And they're also the hardest fucking things to get. So
hey, that's fun.
So yeah, the only true weapon that never fully goes away is the Master Sword. But like I said,
it gets tired.
Yeah.
It gets tired. It's too tired, man. It's been through a lot. Master Sword's been through a whole lot. Years, dude.
Killed 3 enemies. Now you have to wait a day to be able to use it again, you know.
Well, I mean, what was it? Nethack's 87, I think. The original Zelda's 86 or 87, right. Maybe 88. Somewhere around there. It's about 35 years old now, man. That Master Sword's put some work in. Show some fucking respect. It could be tired. Right. Who are you? How many times have you saved Hyrule? Oh, I guess a lot, actually. You've saved Hyrule a whole lot.
It gets so frustrating. And there's no, like, real durability meter. Except, like, whenever it's on breaks. Its last hit, it'll say, your weapon's about to break. Okay, so there's a throw button, and you just know that if you throw, then that counts as, like, a critical hit. So whatever you see the dialogue of, your weapon's about to break, just launch it.
You just chuck it. Fuck yeah. That's awesome. That's such a cool mechanic. It's like, well, if there's durability, at least let you fucking chuck your weapon. All right, game restored.
As I'm running around doing all these mini dungeons, I'm picking up a lot of equipment and stuff. I finish all the mini dungeons, and it's like, okay, time to do the Guardians. I'm like out of weapons by the time I finish one of the Guardians, and it's like, okay, so now I have to grind out more weapons to do the other Guardians. I don't even remember where I got half this shit. I was just picking it up as I went.
But you kept playing because it was a good game, didn't you?
So addicting. The fucking durability, man. I hate it. I hate that there's no repair. I hate that it's so low. Like, why the fuck can it only work for like 3 enemies? You know? It is like, okay, so I have the steel weapon. So the like level 1 enemies, I can now kill a plethora of them. But the enemies that are at my level, I could still only kill 2 because why? They have more fucking health, so they take more fucking hits. So it's no
like it didn't even upgrade.
Yeah. and then there's like
I love how that works.
A whole special like hidden event within Hyrule Castle, which is like the most dangerous place to be because there's literally high level enemies everywhere. But if you do this special event, you get the Hyrule Shield, and it is the most durable shield in the game, and it could take a ton of hits and stuff. And if it breaks, it's gone. Unless you do a whole long, tedious side quest to unlock a very special vendor that will sell it to you for 5,000 rupees.
Only 5,000?
And you can only buy them one at a time. So you have to wait till it breaks to buy another one.
Well, sounds like you hate this game, Chuck.
On top of that, shield durability. So there's a travel mechanic built into the game where you could shield surf. So if you're going down a slope or something, you could literally like jump up in the air and basically flip your shield underneath you and surf down the hill. And it's very fun.
They stole that from the forest.
Pretty much, yeah. That's a great game too. That's a fun mechanic, except for the fact that for every second that you're surfing on it, costs a durability point. So it could just happen that you're halfway down the hill, shield breaks underneath you, you start rolling and taking a shit ton of damage.
Oh no.
I'm like really tempted just to download an emulator to download a ROM to see if there's like a mod or something to turn off durability, because this game is a nightmare with it on, and I'm sure they're going to double down on it in the sequel. I don't know if they're going to like try to tweak it to make it so that there's more durability points per weapon, or at least throw in a repair guy.
Oh shit, they're going to make Breath of Wild 2 Search for Curly's Gold.
Yeah, they've announced Breath of the Wild 2 for a couple years now. It's actually supposed to come out this year, and then they just recently released a video stating they need more work, and so it won't launch until next spring. How, after all these decades of people putting durability in their adventure games and their RPGs and shit, how did you get this so bad? You know?
You were the chosen one.
There is an acceptable limit of this durability that people have fine-tuned for decades.
Generations.
And you said, hey, I want to put durability in my game. Fuck all the research they did. We'll start from scratch.
We'll figure it out. No, I mean, they do a pretty good job with everything else, so.
Jesus fucking Christ. This team at Nintendo is supposed to be one of those, like, oh, we put things in games that is going to be fun and stuff, and it's like, then who put in durability? Because they should be fired.
They got executed, actually, Chuck. Right? That's what happens. They're dead. All right, you can stop. The widow is in enough pain when she listens to this podcast. It's just gonna break her heart.
Well, maybe I'll just find his gravestone and break it and be like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Looks like you didn't have enough durability, chump.
Even with the durability, this game is very, very addicting. Like that's the main frustration. The other frustration is the length of time it takes to look like a Zelda game.
What do you mean? It's like Bubsy?
I mean that as like, okay, so this game, Link can have multiple different outfits, and certain outfits give you, like, it starts out as like just different stats, and then later on it's like, oh, these outfits give you bonuses. So if you get all 3 pieces of the climbing gear, then it makes your stamina, makes you consume less stamina to climb things.
Oh, it doesn't make you better at cooking? The climbing set doesn't make you better at cooking, Chuck?
If you get all the pieces of the rubber suit, then you could withstand like electric attacks and lightning strikes better, kind of thing.
Right.
All of that's fine. You can find these fairy fountains, and then for resource cost, you can upgrade each of these costumes, like, even more. So by the end of the game, I had all 3 pieces of the climbing suit completely maxed out, and it had more of an armor rating than like the Hyrule guard set, you know? So it's like, I'm a climbing hitting machine. You know?
I'm tough as fuck wearing my goddamn Uberschmentz overalls.
Freaking just like Link in a sleeveless tank top and shorts with like the Master Sword stuck between his teeth, and he's just climbing the side of a wall like, I'm gonna get you, Ganon. I'm gonna get you.
He doesn't need any guardians now. He's just gonna climb up and murder him.
I'm coming for you, Ganon. Oh yeah.
He turns into Macho Man Randy Savage.
I think there's a mod out there that does, but yes.
Oh, I definitely got to emulate this game then.
That's all fine. The only actual Link outfit in the game, the like Link tunic, the green tunic, the brown boots, you know, his like iconic look, you can only get it if you finish all 150 of those mini dungeons.
Wow.
So you've basically beaten the game by the time you get this tunic. And the only way to get a tunic faster is if you have amiibos. You know, the little
Oh,
fucking
no.
toys they sell? Yeah. So if you have the like Ocarina of Time link, you can scan that amiibo on your Switch and get the Ocarina of Time suit in the game. And they have it for like each of the Zeldas. So the only one that is built within the game, you basically have to beat the game in order to look like Link. You know, by then, like I had the climbing suit completely maxed out. Do I want to have this suit that makes me look like Link and does nothing else? Or do I want to have like my climbing stamina pretty much halved? Because I do climb a lot in this game.
Oh yeah, and dude, that's a tough ass looking outfit. You'd show up and just fuck Ganon up.
Yeah.
The bandana, looking tough as shit, sleeveless. Yeah, the shorts, everything, you nailed. It's like you played the game. Shit, I had to look it up.
It's not like if you got that tunic early on, you'd still swap it out for the climbing gear later. But it's just, if I'm playing Zelda, I want to look like the character from Zelda, you know?
I want to look like Zelda.
I don't want to like fucking play Halo where I'm running around as a regular soldier and at the very end of the game, I finally get the Spartan armor. It's like, I want to look like the character that I've wanted to play for, 20
I'm assuming
years.
a role because my life sucks. Please. I want to forget. I want to be Zelda. I want to be Mr. Zelda.
And they're trying to promote like the new look of him with this blue tunic and stuff, and it's like the design is really cool and stuff, but again, it's like I want to play as Link. I want to play as the iconic legendary character. Having that shirt in the game is not a problem, because you've built in a system where I can swap out, but I still want that tunic. I still want to feel like I'm playing as Link and not some random guy who was asleep in his bed and got woken up rudely and said, "Here's a sword, go have fun."
Nice pajamas, kill that guy.
So, and that's just like another aspect where it's kind of a failure of a Zelda game. As much as the environments is 100% like running around Hyrule, the Link I played as just never felt like Link. He doesn't have the equipment. He doesn't have the weapons. He doesn't have his suit. This is just a random guy who assumes the role that Link usually fulfills, Yeah,
it's imposter Link, man. To Shadow Link, Dark Link. I could keep going. Actually, that's all I got.
So another aspect in this game is the cooking. Like you pick up a bunch of materials, that this kind of like leads into kind of the survival gameplay of mix and matching things to create different aspects. Like if you mix a fish, an apple, and some stamina mushrooms, well, you end up with a fish that gives you like full hearts plus unlimited stamina for like 10 seconds,
Right.
And that's all interesting. And there's so many different ways you can mix and match shit and make completely different items and stuff. They never built into the game a way of like listing all this shit.
Oh, nice.
Every time you cook, you have to remember exactly what you need to cook the item you want.
Oh, no, dude.
For fuck's sake, you give Link basically an iPad in this like medieval fantasy game. You give him an iPad to take like pictures of random shit and to summon bombs and to summon a magnet, but you can't have like a recipe list in it.
All the fantastical things and nothing practical.
Like,
I love it.
The fuck, I just like expressing all of this stupid shit out loud is like, this is all like free to play mechanics in a game that doesn't require you to like spend microtransactions and shit. Kind of the biggest rant I have of this, and it's like something people like barely even touch on. They just kind of like want to jerk off this game so much and be like, this is the most perfect game in the world. And it's like, it's an excellent open world game. but it kind of sucks as a Zelda game. I'll fucking play Ocarina of Time any day of the week over this. That said, I technically have put in more time on Breath of the Wild than I ever put in on Ocarina of Time. Because you can beat Ocarina of Time in like 10 hours. So I can beat it 10 times before I beat Breath of the Wild once. You know?
Get those 900 seeds. No, I do really want to play the game. It sounds really cool. The durability sounds annoying, but to get the rest of the content, fuck it, I'll play it.
Yeah. It's definitely worth playing, and it's definitely influenced a lot of games since then, like Genshin Impact, like Immortals Phoenix Rising.
What a name. Phoenix with a Y even.
One of the things I've seen about Immortals Phoenix Rising, they have a better durability system.
Oh, no.
I give this game 9 broken wooden spears out of a Master Sword.
Nice. That's one of the better fake fucking reviews. Oh man, this has been a fantastic night, fantastic session.
Right.
We laughed a lot, we joked a lot, we complained a lot. Yeah,
if you didn't hear crying, that's because I edited it out. But we did.
Yeah. Cry. Oh no, we are definitely editing out that whole entire part where you just start sobbing openly about durability in Breath of the Wild. We have to, man. It's too much.
Right.
But I really had a good time. I always appreciate the opportunity to talk, the opportunity to be heard, opportunity to share how we feel about games with the people.
That'll do it for us this week. Thank you for listening. We're available literally on every podcast platform now. So you can find us on Apple's iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, Grindr, Tinder. We're on World of Warcraft now.
It's the Big Willie's Podcast Shack. I mean, you just start asking.
We're now played on intercoms at a Walmart. Working on getting a Patreon set up. If anyone wants to kind of be the donators,
you get full access to the unedited sobbing.
Yes, that's what
that's the selling point. I had to swoop in there
for the main uploads. I've been trying to get these episodes down to an hour. Obviously, we talk and go off on side tangents a lot, so our shows typically range between an hour 30 to 2 hours. We're going to set it up to where our Patreon, our first tier of Patreon goals gives you access to the extended cut podcast. So you could get in on all of the inside jokes that will be coming soon to you.
Right.
Like Bob Hoskins' ghost.
That was fully explained in the first podcast. You just have to go back. You have to follow the trail of dead plumbers.
Thank you for listening. Check us out on every podcast area. Leave us a rating and a review. If you want, please say nice words. Please watch all of it.
Or any of it, because it's audio, you goob. If you can watch any part of this, go to a hospital right now.
I'm watching the volume meters right now. Okay.
No, if you're watching this podcast, you need to go to a hospital. Don't walk, run, call an ambulance, get some help.
Thank you and good night.
Go to the hospital.
Thank you for listening this week. We are now available on all podcast platforms, including Apple's iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play Store. We also have a Twitter set up at toomanygames2. That's TOO, mini games, and then the number 2. Give us feedback on how we're doing.